So I just wanted to do a quick video on another supernatural figure. This is related to a British legend, and it is the legend of Spring Heel Jack. Now, Spring Heel Jack was the moniker given to this very supernatural being that I think first appeared. Generally, the consensus was that he appeared around the 1830s, as particularly on Barnes Common, that he was a spectre who leapt out of the cemetery and startled a bloke that was going home late at night. The Barnes Common as a shortcut. I'm sure he regretted it once he'd seen this thing. And generally, reports of what Spring Heel Jack looked like, they do vary. You've got the sort of comic book style character. There were actually comics about Spring Heel Jack, but in the comics he was not a fire-breathing demon. He was like a sort of anti-hero that would wear a cape and things, a bit like an early Batman. And I do believe in this series, which I'll probably post a picture up, he was actually seen as, I don't know, not particularly bad all the time. Whereas the real life accounts from witnesses are all pretty negative, to be honest. Basically, a sort of red-eyed demon it would breathe sort of blue flames and liked to attack mainly women, startling them and slapping their bosoms or their bums with a cheeky sort of sexual way, and women would be screaming and running and hiding. And then the men would come out and try to capture this, but every time managed to get away. I do recall one time, also when some of the authorities, I think some soldiers, actually managed to corner Spring Heel Jack, but he just basically just flew or jumped, sprung over this very tall gate and disappeared into the night. So, what do I think of Spring Heel Jack? I think either it's a made up story, such as the Arthurians, and before television or radio, you're talking like Victorian times, and even just before that, most people in England, Britain, didn't have a lot of things to do, so people would listen to music. They'd watch jesters or comedians, and people would also like to listen to folk stories. So there could be an element of that involved, through sort of Chinese whispers. Now, I am someone that believes in the supernatural. I believe that, yes, Satan fell to this earth with a third of the angels, and yes, they do wander around the earth with whatever limited power they can harvest. But that's another story. Let's focus on this. So, say it was some sort of hellfire demon. It would explain the fact that Spring Heel Jack was never caught. It would also explain that he has been seen in different parts of England. He's been seen in Liverpool, in Warrington, places up north as well. Strangely, as recent as the 1930s, or I do believe there were some sightings in the 70s. So, like the Jersey Devil in America, or the Loch Ness Monster, this character either doesn't age or is never fully alive in the first place. Maybe he is some sort of demon. It's a very interesting story, and some other details are that the Duke of Wellington, I believe Arthur Wellesley, actually hearing this legend of Spring Heel Jack attacking women, mounted his horse and tried to track him down himself. No doubt an accomplished soldier that he was. So I think this one's always an interesting one. I really enjoyed hearing about this when I was younger, and I read books about an author called Tom Sleman, or Sleeman, I don't know how you pronounce it, but he does a lot of paranormal books, and they're very good. That's actually how I learned about Spring Hill Jack in other parts of the country. Um, so yeah, part of the legend, also I remember when I was young, was that Spring Hill Jack would generally run about on rooftops. In fact, in the old terrace housing, often houses would have a shared attic. That does sound to me like bad for security, but in those days, we didn't really have as much crime among, communities. He was running along the attic, along the sort of shared attic space along the whole street, and again, no one could catch him. So yeah, that was where that fascination came when I was young. If I heard a bird moving around on my roof, of course I would cower in fear, thinking, "Oh, Spring Hill Jack's coming." Cheers, guys, and have a good one. Ta-ta.